Nice day, nice rocking vibe. Hey, hey.
I was trying to figure out if I knew any song on this rhythm. I mean, I just pull over.
There's a freestyle, just pull over there.
Yeah,
It's
just
a
pull over.
nice one, a nice one.
Just pull it over. But did it start having one over? Why not? All right. So good morning to SVG. Good morning to folks in the region, and good morning to those in the diaspora. You know, actually need to look up this word diaspora to see if it actually applies to persons in the region as well, or if it's just international. But that's just me thinking aloud. I will go and look it up, and then I will probably come back and let you know what my time is at, right? Because I always say when we say diaspora, I'm just thinking people outside of the country, of your country. So it could be people within the region as well. But I will look it up. All right, I'll look it up. So good morning to everybody who is listening to us this morning. We are back with you, both angels in studio today. All right. So that would be Dianna and myself, Roleza.
Yes.
Samuel.
Sorry, somebody said there's an echo, so I was just trying to see if I heard it, if I was hearing it.
All right, and interestingly, we are not hearing it on our side. We are not hearing it on our side.
Ooh.
All right. Okay.
No,
So
it's not too bad.
all right. Yeah, we're not hearing it on our side, and to be honest, let me see if I know even know what to do. All right. So yes.
Yes. So you was mentioning that I am back today. Oh, I missed you yesterday. I missed you yesterday. I
thought you would have been so busy to be missing anybody.
No, man. Of course, when I'm away from my people, I miss them. Oh.
Okay. So yeah, I was trying to fix something. All right. Just indicate that the echo is still there, please. Persons on the line.
Okay. So it is. Somebody said it's bad.
All right.
We're sorry about that.
Okay, Dianna, you can respond.
Okay, so while we get that sorted, we do apologize for the echo that is affecting you at this moment, but we are trying to get it sorted. Please bear with us. But yes, I am back. Yesterday I went out. It was an interesting time and an informative experience. But I did miss you. I did sign in. I got onto the live for the ending part of the interview, which was the only time I could have covered. But that was basically it. Let us know how the echo, if you're still hearing the echo, and how terrible it is. If so, please.
Okay. So all right. So yes, as Dianna said, indicate whether or not you're still hearing the echo. Yeah. Well, how was the session though?
It was all right. It was interesting to do that.
You want to tell
informative. Oh, yes. So yesterday, the Loud team went out. They are into the Loud, which is a youth mentorship program, which is something launched by the National Commission on Crime Prevention. They went into their second phase yesterday. It actually started last week Thursday, and they went out into some schools. We visited 2 secondary schools yesterday, and we'll be going back again on Thursday to visit some more, just to hear from the students, get a feel of some of the issues that are affecting them, so that we can come together, get the information, and go from there, so we could put measures in place and actually take action to work on those issues as well.
Okay.
So it was interesting, informative to be in the setting, to see the children, interact with the children with secondary school to be specific. I think I did say that. Yeah.
And this is loud on the
CCP, yeah.
and that is National
Commission on Crime Prevention,
all
yeah.
right? So I know that there was one point where we did have a discussion, or it was raised on what is the NCCP doing. So this is one of the initiatives that they have undertaken in terms of getting that direct feedback from children, and Dianna is a part of that team.
Yeah.
Hence her absence yesterday. All right? All right, she didn't burn up. She didn't burn up because it was raining plenty and she did not feel like getting out of her bed, right? Those people thought that was what happened. All right? But in terms of burning up, for persons who may have burned up yesterday for whatever reason, in some instances it may have been understandable, right? Or like maybe not burn up, but call in and say why it is that you were not at work, right? I'm not calling in advance and give a reason for why you could not come. So yesterday morning, we saw several situations happening here in SBG as a result of prolonged rainfall that we experienced for the past about a week, and increasingly so on the weekend. For those of you who were in tune with social media yesterday, you should have seen videos circulating of landslides in different communities. There was one in Kittle, on the main road. I didn't pass there yesterday, but I saw the picture and I was like, oh boy, So there was that landslide there in Kittle. Then we saw that the Rabaca Bridge, substantial debris came down, which is debris in terms of stones and sticks and or wood, right? Came down, overflowed onto that bridge as well. Another interesting video that I saw yesterday was the one in Yambu. And I do have a few questions in relation to that one, right? The video that circulated, the person indicated that where it has broken away, a road was actually there before, right? And you could kind of see that a road was there because of where gates are. So you know that persons enter their home from that side, or enter their properties from that side. It is, I don't know, I just looked at this thing yesterday and my heart sunk for the individuals involved, right?
It's scary too.
Yeah, it's scary, and you can see that part of it is already undermined in terms of, it just looks like a very thin sheet of what I presume is concrete that is there. So at any moment, if further erosion continues to take place underneath it, that entire structure, part of the structure could break away and collapse, right? So it is very unfortunate. But I think that the question that I have to ask, and I have to go to the comment section yesterday to get a bit of mental clarification, was if a river was actually previously there. And it seems as if a river was there before. Now, one of the things that I've always heard is that water will always find its way back.
Yeah.
Right? So whether or not a river was previously there in times of whenever there's substantial rainfall, it's going to find its way back. And there are times when we see this, even by me there in Clear Valley. So there's a stream that is dry as, what's Crips? Dry as Crips, right? Dry as Crips. So whenever it rains heavily, we end up seeing it overflowing onto the road, which further lends to the deterioration of my road in Crabwood. I'm saying it again, in Crabwood, right? Which further leads to the deterioration of the road. But that's the thing. The water sources are wherever they are, and as long as there is going to be substantial rainfall, rivers and streams and other water bodies, they're always going to find their way, So it is unfortunate. Maybe we'll find out a bit more in terms of what that road makeup was actually like upon the point of construction, in terms of maybe it was thought that the river was no longer going to be flowing there, etc. I don't know extensively about that particular road there in Yambu, but it's just one of those questions that came to my mind as I saw this video.
Yeah, and And talking about landslides and things that happened in the rain the night before, we were actually they're saying that it's okay on the radio, but the echo is on the live only. So I don't know, the radio does not have the echo, just the Facebook live. So we are still trying to sort out that issue again. We do apologize for this echo. We are working to fix it, right? But I was on the road the night before. Oh, okay. Are you hearing? Okay, good, good. So the night before we were on our way to Greg's and we met one of those landslides that blocked the road to Greg's. We actually had to turn back and then go. I don't know the area. It was the first time I was going to Greg's. We had to turn back from that road and go through Richland Park. And the person who lives in Greg's, she said the place that we were going to is called Lula. I don't know who is listening and they know about Lula Road, but oh wow, that was an experience. Roleza Lula is just mountain road with no light, one narrow road, no lights, no houses, and it was about half an hour going through that.
So like a proper place for John to pop up.
Yes, listen.
Proper place for John to pop up.
Correct. I had to ask when people I say, y'all have getting signal? All the horror movies started coming before my eyes. Then while we were going there, we met another blockage again. There was a landslide and a tree was in the road, but it wasn't as bad as the other one that blocked the entire road. So we had to come out in the rain. If you see us, and I didn't realize the tree was so strong. We had to be moving things for the vehicle to pass in the dark. It was scary. So that rain really did quite a lot. Quite did really did a number on us.
And I think it's because it was raining incessantly for a while, so
Yeah.
the soil
Yes.
was already
Yes.
saturated, so it just further compounded. You know, yesterday as I was going back home, so when I left home yesterday, so yes, I saw a rock and so forth in Europe, and but it wasn't as significant when I returned. And I'm there seeing all of this stuff, and even one of the neighbors was telling me that the night before, on the what's it is, Tuesday, on Monday night, well, no, it was been early Tuesday morning, that I was like a river that was coming down on the hill.
Hmm.
So all the boulders, everything was coming down that hill, and I stepped through everything.
Oh,
I tell you, I
okay.
did not hear one
You
sound.
know what? That's possible. That's possible.
I
Yeah.
stepped through, and
Yeah,
I'm
I
saying,
could be.
and if you see the size of the boulders that were this large,
Mm.
you know, so even they came over by one part
Wow.
of the neighbor, and he said it's like a whole river that came down, and I stepped through. I tell y'all now, when God comes to the waters in the night, I will be
You see
sleeping through that. I will be sleeping through it because, like, I don't know, it's just interesting, but you know, one of the things that I would also probably just mention here quickly, you know, property ownership is a responsible duty.
Yes.
There are many times I often wonder how the PM does it. Like when it rains heavily, you'll be like, God, could you chill? You know, just hold up this weather for me, please, because you know it just seems like it's just one thing after the other. You know, somebody's house in Rockies was washed away. A family of five, their house was washed away, and you know, I can't imagine being in his shoes where these natural disasters or these occurrences happen, and you have to try to find a way to help the
Yes.
people, right?
While you
No,
know, while walking on one from before,
right, you know. So I can't imagine what that position is like, and I mean, it's government doesn't have to, let's say, rebuild a home for somebody or necessarily provide material, etc. But oftentimes we see that they do get assistance. And, you know, I am just a little bit concerned. And even last night, my mind went to, I wonder if there ever was a period in history, let's say for 20 years, right? Let me just say 20 years, when everything was just good, right? Calm and good, and people were just living just fine. I just feel like it's one thing after the other. And in this generation that I'm living in, it's one thing after the other. It's one year after the other. It's every other month in some instances, you know, depending on what's happening. It's just a lot,
yes,
right? It's just a
yes,
lot that is
it is.
happening. But back to the property of home ownership and the responsibility. There are times when I know as a homeowner, I dread when it rains heavily or certain things happen because I then have to, if something does happen or should happen, I may have to find money to deal with these things, right?
Yes.
And this is when I always say that maybe renting is why it's always necessary because the responsibility falls on somebody else. It falls on the owner of the property and not you, right? Not you, the tenant. But you know, there are times when sometimes it goes back to the very beginning stages of what you're doing with your property. Persons are building back walls. Are you building the back walls properly, right? Is there sufficient, I don't know what you call it, weeping holes or something? Somebody could correct me, right? But that those holes that you place within the wall to allow water to flow out, do you put those in? Is enough steel being put into the back walls? Is enough the proper size concrete blocks being used? So some of the things that tend to happen. Now, we're not saying that all natural occurrences that the result of some of these natural occurrences would not happen. But there are some times when we have to stop and think, are we doing the correct thing in the very first place, in the initial stages, to prevent things from happening? And especially like when you live in a community, sometimes what it is that you fail to do properly has an impact on other persons within the community. All right, so I just want a person to know that. Now, it's difficult, yes, living in a community or living in certain places, and as a result of someone else's things happening with them, you then have to deal with it or try to adjust in a particular way. But sometimes let's just put the effort into doing things properly the first time to prevent many of these situations from happening, where we then have to either come up with the money again to deal with whatever has happened, or come up with the money to alleviate the situations within the community, etc., etc., etc. All right?
Right. When you're on that topic, I was also thinking, no, because we can clearly see that things are happening differently, and it's not for us to expect that it's going to stop or get better. I'm not trying to be pessimistic, but if we really look at what is happening in terms of climate change, we have to expect that these are the kind of conditions that we're going to have. So we have to now consider where we're building houses, especially in a country like SVG, where we have a lot of hills. I see some people building some houses on some places, and I wonder about it. So we have to consider that now. We have to consider the materials. Are you going to, boy, we have to go spend some extra money, because if you try to shortchange yourself, you may end up, as Roleza is saying, it's destroyed and you have to go and spend more money, or you have to do, some sort of replacement, which is going to be a little extra money. In the rains, one of the things I noticed on the road after all of these rains is a lot of garbage. A lot of garbage. And everywhere where you see they have these, the things, the steel things that they have over the holes.
Grills?
Yes, yes. Where you have those grills, you would see all the garbage after the water. The water is looking for somewhere to go, and all the garbage is there. Everywhere you go on the road and you look after all of these rains, it's a lot of garbage. My dear people. My dear people.
No, my dear children, because it's only children are talking about, but this proper disposal of garbage is only the children are talking. All right? All right, so we are going to have to jump out at this time, as we have to bring to you today's traffic talk.